So, like, what do we understand by oops? Like, this is a topic that is very important, but not being touched upon by many of in many of the courses. Like, they just brush upon it and do not go into in actual detail. But as per my understanding, this is very important topic. Why? Because if you even do machine learning, there also what you do when you instantiate, what we say at instantiate a linear regression model. So what you are trying to do is actually you create an object of a linear regression class. Okay. So hence each and everything that we use in Python is actually an object of a class. Okay, even our data types that we have like lists and dictionaries are actually classes defined in Python, and what we do is we actually create an instance of them. Okay, so let me just show you, like suppose you already know how to create a list. Okay, so we have a list L equal to 1 equal to 2, 1 2 and 3. Now when we do L dot, so whenever we do dot, we actually find the methods associated with this particular data type. Like this is a type. So what are these? These are actually methods that are defined in the list class. Okay. So if anyone would know that there is a function called upper, but that is in string. So what happens if we try to execute this? We will get an error that saying it is an attribute error. And what does it say? It says that list object has no attribute upper. Why? Because as I had shown you earlier, if you see when we do dot, we are given the options of the method. So only these methods are defined within the list class, but upper method is not defined in this list class. That is why we are getting the error. Similarly, if we do s equal to hello, so here what we are doing, we are making an object s of string data type. Okay, so now if I try to use method append, okay, like we have uh, in list we have append. Okay, but when I try to do this, what do I get? Again I get attribute error. Why? Because if you see s dot, so there are different methods, but there is no append method. Okay, there are umpteen number of methods. You can see that these are all the methods that are defined in a string class, but append is not the method that is being defined in string class. Okay, so if you do type of s, so what you get? You get a string. Okay, and when you do like this, the defined data types that we have in our Python, if we try to do like we have defined L. Okay, so let me just do print, then I should do, then it is saying a class list. Okay, even for this also it should actually print class str. See, okay, so for string also we are having a particular class in Python. Okay, so what is this syntax to create an object in Python is we actually have an object. Okay, we should have some first we should have some object name, and then we need to have that particular class name, and then we need to have parentheses. Okay, like you might have done in some of the classes also, like when we define empty list, so what we do, L equal to list, and then we use this parenthesis. Okay, so what happens is when we execute this cell, we do type get a list. Okay, similarly we can also create an empty string also if we do s equal to str and then parenthesis. what it does is it creates an empty string. Let me just do type s of class str. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. Now you are able to understand that why certain methods are available in string data type, but they are not available in list data type. The reason is it is not defined in their particular classes. Okay, now I will show you how we can even define our own class. Okay, suppose we want to, if you want to define a class, then we need to use a keyword class. Okay, then whatever class you want to create, let us assume that I want to create a class called car. Okay, then I will use colons. Okay, and I will just let me just write pass over here, like we are not assigning any attributes over here. Okay. Hmm. So this is a car class that I created. No attributes I have given right now. So just when it has executed. Now if I create an object of this particular class, a equal to car, so this is it. And when I do print type a, okay. So now what it will give me? It will give me that my type, my a object is an object of class car. Okay, so right now I haven't defined any methods in the class car, but you should know that actually when I use this keyword class, there are certain number of methods that have been inherited by this particular what you call as our what we call as our custom class that we have created. Okay, so if I do dir a, oh, let me just show you. See, these are the methods, inbuilt method that have already been included in it. Okay, like underscore class, del attribute, dictor. Okay, they all have different functions. Uh, Based on a utility, I would be discussing those in our class. Okay. So now you will ask me, sir, why do we need a class? Okay. See, when the answer is very simple, so as to actually reduce the number of times we are using the same code, we create a class. Okay. So when we do make a particular class, we can actually confine ourselves. Like suppose, like it is similar to what we have in our society as well. It has the concept of classes has been derived from our normal physical surroundings only. Like we, what by class, what we try to do is we actually group all the components that we have for a particular data type, okay, or a particular thing that we need to define. So like in this case, what I did is I created a car class. So let me just add some other attribute as well. So if I want to add other attributes, so what I can do is I will tell you one very powerful method that we have for our car class, that is called constructor. Okay. So what is constructor? Actually, constructor is the values that are whenever you initialize an object. Like right now I did car where I did it. Let me just show you. Huh. So right now I didn't pass any parameters. Okay. So but when I need that, whenever I create an object of car class, certain values should be entered into my object. Okay. So for that, what I knew, I need an initializer. Okay. So that is what is my init constructor. Okay. So here I will define. So whenever you use a class. Okay, so a method of the class, you have to first write self. Okay, you can give another name also, but what is the convention is that we usually give self. Okay, so that is why we tell that it is an method of the class. Okay, object method. Okay, so let me just give you certain arguments. So like it would be company, and other would be a number of passengers. Okay. Hmm. And when I create this class, then I have to create some attributes. Okay, so just see what I am doing. Company self dot peak equal to NOP. Okay, it is number of passengers. Okay, and when I define it, okay, so these are my attributes. Okay, so let's just keep this class up till here. Okay, let's just keep this class very simple. And now when I create an object of car class, so I will get an error. Why? Because now I have added some arguments to for my class. Okay, now it requires two positional arguments, company and NOP, for it to be initialized. So here I will give the company as Toyota, and then number of passengers would be 4. Okay, and okay, so this is my first object that is created for this particular class. Now if I do a dot, okay, so two attributes I have for this particular object. Okay, one is number of passengers and one is company. Now what this is actually, sorry, what this actually is actually is the attributes that I have defined over here. Okay, the company and NOP. Okay, so when I do a dot company, so what it will give, it will give me value Toyota. Now suppose I do a particular, I create another object of class car. Okay, and then I have the value for company as mm, Maruti, and number of passengers as 6. Okay, so when I execute this, I have b dot, when I do company, I will get Maruti. Okay, so B is an object of car class, but its attribute is company. Okay, so you understood my point. So
Maybe a question is, is it just when we put some values inside the function?
yes, exactly. When you want to define a class, okay, and you want that certain value should be associated with this object. Okay,
Okay.
so in that case, you define an constructor in it. Like whenever you create an object, certain values would be initiated, so initialized in it. Okay. So what is the values that should be initialized? That are the arguments that you have passed. Like you want company and NOP should be given whenever the user creates a class. Okay. Oh, sorry, object of that class. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, what is DIR?
See, dir is a function. Okay, it lists the all the inbuilt methods that are present in a particular object. Okay, so if I created let me just show you. If I had done dirl, like I have created class L, oh sorry, object L of class list. Okay, so let us do that. So see, it is giving me what all methods the class has. See, append, clear, copy, count, extend, init. Okay, and apart from that, it is also having certain other attributes also, other methods also, but they are actually been made private. Okay, we will come to this topic later on. What is public and private and classes? Okay, I just wanted to tell you that whenever you define a particular class, so when you use this class keyword automatically, even if you see that I haven't passed anything, okay, I have just given pass, but this class was not empty. It was actually having some methods. That was the only purpose why I used dir here. Okay, so let's move
Sir,
further.
that methods are used only for one purpose or multiple purposes.
Which method?
Those all methods.
See, every method has their own utility. Okay, we will talk about them later if as and when the class proceeds. Okay, so let's not focus on that too much. Uh, we should be clear with what are classes and what are the objects. Up till now, you should be clear what is a class and what is an object. Okay, and how a constructor is being created. Okay, so I've told you how we create attributes and how to use constructor. Okay. Now what we will do is we will define our own class. Okay. We will define a very small class that we don't have. Okay. In in Python. Okay. So what we can do is uh, okay. So let us create a very basic class so that the utility of classes should be clear to you. Let us make a class that is ATM. Okay, so in ATM, like what we do, we have certain options. Like whenever you go to an ATM, you press a button and then you get a menu. Okay, in menu you have options like if you need to press, if you press one, then you can change the pin. Okay, and if you press two, you can check balance. If you press four, you can withdraw money, or else you can exit. Okay, so this I'm going to do this all these things using a class. Okay, so let us create our class ATM underscore init. Okay, and since should be associated with an object, I need to give self. Then I will create a default parameter. Okay, like whenever uh, an object of this ATM class would be created, I a default parameters would be initialized. Okay, so how we can do that? We use self dot keyword, whatever attribute name that you want to give. I want to give as pin. Okay, so let us keep it self dot pin, and other attribute, let it be balance. Okay, and these are the two attributes that we need to have for our ATM card. Okay, you need to have a pin and there should be certain balance as well. Okay, so let us just uh, define a method also. Like first method is like I want that uh, there should be a method for our ATM object, like to create pin. Okay, so whenever you define a method in a class, that should be a method associated with the object, then you have to always mention self within the parenthesis. Okay, let us use user pin, and in this it would ask for input. mm, Input, enter your pin. Okay, and then whatever pin the user enters, we what we will do is we will assign this to our uh, pin attribute. Okay, so through this method we will create a pin, and once our pin is created, what we can do is we will ask the user to input balance as well. Okay, int input, enter the balance. Okay, sorry, there is an indentation error. So we will ask the user for balance as well once he has entered the pin, and we will assign this particular balance to our attribute user underscore balance. Okay, and once the user has given us the balance, we can what we can do is we can just do uh, print pin created successfully. Okay, this is what happens when we usually get an ATM card or something like that. Okay, so this is the first thing that you do whenever you get an ATM card. So what you do is you first of all initiate, you create a pin when you go to the ATM. Okay, so I have just put another step, like because actually we need some balance also, na. We have just initiated zero, but let us assume that the user also tells us what is his balance. Okay, it does not look nice na that we are having no money in an account. It does not looks good. If there is no money, then why are we using ATM, right? So and okay, I need to create one more class also. Let us create a class menu also. Oh, sorry, method menu. What this method will do is, like what I was telling, we need to have some input for user, like what the user wants to do. Okay, first we should take a input from the user. Okay, like whether he needs to create the pin, or whether he needs to change the pin, or whether he needs to check balance, what kind of operation he needs to perform. Okay, so for that again I am creating a method. Okay, and in this is an input, and input, just a second, it should be an input, and so I will give a title. Okay, how can I help you? Okay, and if the user prints 1, if he selects 1, then what we should do, press 1 to create pin. Okay, and can have 2, press 2 to change pin. Okay, and we can have,
So change spelling was wrong.
okay, thank you. And for 3 we can have uh, press 3 to check balance. Okay, and in fourth we can have we can have what we can have, withdraw. Okay, press 4 to withdraw. Okay, and at the last we can do uh, press any uh, press anything to exit. This is the menu that the user should get whenever he enters his card in the ATM. Okay, so if so like I created a class like us, I created method create pin. Okay, so our first method has been created. Similarly, we will, what we can do is we can create uh, different, what we can say, we can create different methods as well for all these particular functions that we need to perform. Okay, so let me just make another function that would be, I have created for create pin. So I will do another function as change pin, and change pin I will write self, and let hold pin. Okay, first of all what you do is you ask him to enter the old pin. Okay, let me pin. Okay, now suppose if old pin is equal to the pin that we already have. Okay, the pin attribute, the object that I have. Okay, this self dot pin, then only it should change. Okay, then we need to do new pin equal to input, just we'll take the new pin. Okay, and then when we have got the new pin, what we can do is we just assign it to self dot pin. Okay, and next what we can do is once we have assigned it, then we can just print pin changed successfully. Okay, pin changed successfully. Okay, and once the pin has been changed, what we can do is we can just return to our menu. Okay, the menu that we have. So in order to call that particular function, what we can do is we can use this self and then use menu. Okay, or else then suppose that the pin does not matches. Okay, so what we can do, we can just write get lost. Okay, again we can call the our menu function, or what you say as menu method. Okay. Okay, so we have created it. And next, what method we need? We have created a method for creating pin. We have created a method for changing pin. Okay. And here also we can write, we should write self.menu. Why? Because once pin has been created, it should again show me the menu. Okay. And next I need to create another method which will show me, which will help me to check the balance from the ATM. So what I should do is I should write def and then check underscore balance. Okay. Check underscore balance. And whenever you need to check the balance, what you need to do is, first of all, you will ask for the pin. Okay. Like, just copy it. Okay. You will ask for the user pin. Enter, enter your pin. Okay. And instead, I should write here new pin. Okay, so that you don't get confused. Okay, so now I have asked for the input for the pin. Okay, now again I will check if this user pin is equal to my pin that I have created for that particular object. Okay, if the object is, if the pin matches, then what we need to do is we need to print the balance is self dot balance. Yeah, I think self dot balance is the attribute, right? Yeah. Okay. So I need to do self dot balance. So what if it does not match? So I will just write get lost. Hmm. Okay. And here I'll just give self dot menu. Okay. Okay. One more method is done. And suppose I want to uh, withdraw also. Okay. So I need another method for withdraw. Write self, and then I will take the input from the user and just copy this line. Okay, so now again, if control C, if user pin equal to self dot pin, then we will, what we will do is we will allow the person to withdraw. Okay, and we will ask for the amount that he wants to withdraw. Okay, so let it be int input, enter, enter the amount. Okay, So the user will enter the amount that he wants to withdraw. So what we will do is, if amount is less than equal to self dot balance, whatever balance that we have, okay, it will check. If the amount is less than balance, then what we will do, we will subtract it from balance. Okay, minus amount, and we will print withdrawal successful. Okay, and then we will write, what we will write, withdrawal is successful and current balance is self dot balance. Okay, and next, else, else what we will do, if suppose the is greater than self balance. Okay, so what we will do, we'll just print uh, earn some more money.
Insufficient balance.
Suppose, and another else we will write uh, print get lost. Why? Because it may be some impersonator who is putting the pin. Okay, and what we can do is, after we have executed this method, so we can just return to our menu. Okay, so this is how our ATM class should look like. And let me see. Okay, okay, I did everything, but I haven't actually completed my menu method. In menu method also, what I should do is, I should actually use if else statement, because suppose the user has put an has input 1, then it should be directed to that particular method. Okay, so in that case, what I will do is, I will write if user equal to 1, and then for 1, what you will get, you need to go to create pin method. Okay, create pin, elif user score input underscore input, if it is 2, then we should go to self dot change pin. I think it's change pin, right? Yes, it's change pin. Elif user underscore input equal to 3. So what we can do, in at 3 we are checking the balance. Okay, self dot check score balance, and then we have another method to withdraw it. Input, so input equal to 4. Okay, and then what people do is withdraw. Okay. And once this is done, so what we need to do is,
Else.
and what should we do in our else?
Get lost.
Get exit.
Yes, I think we should write get lost. Or can do exit. Okay. This is our custom class. Okay, custom ATM class that we have created in for the ATM. Okay. So let's check if it is working fine. Okay. Let us just execute it. Okay. This has run successfully. Now let us create an object of ATM class ob1 equal to ATM. Okay, ATM. And if we don't enter any values, then by default my pin would be this space. Okay, and my balance would be 0. Okay, so if I do ob1 dot, sorry, capital O b1 dot, and in that if I do balance, so what it will give me, it will give me 0. And if I do ob1 dot pin, so it will give me empty space. Okay, so now let us use other methods that we have defined in our class. Okay, see, now when I do dot, so why I'm not getting these? Okay, I did a mistake in indentation, I think. This is why indentation is important. Python. So just execute all of them. Okay, so now I think when I do dot, see, now I am getting all our methods that we have created. Like balance and pin are the attributes, and menu, create pin, check balance, change pin, or our and withdraw are our methods. Okay, so what we will do is, we will first of all we will create pin. Okay, so let us do create pin. Okay, so when I use this particular method, so what should I get? Enter your pin. So okay, everyone close your eyes. This is very personal. You should not see my pin. Enter your pin. Okay, now enter balance 10,000. Pin created successfully. Hi, how can I help you? So what should I do? I should check my balance. Okay. Okay, now it wants me to check my, okay, I need to enter that pin. Okay, it is working fine. 10,000. What if I enter some wrong pin? Okay, get lost. See, it is working fine. Okay, so my create method is working, create pin method is working perfectly fine. So now let us, now see, I have changed my attribute value of the attribute balance also. Now like what I did earlier, if I do again, if I do ob1 dot pin, so the values have been changed. Okay, and similarly for balance also, the attribute has been changed. Okay, but one thing you should be clear that I told you earlier, if I create another object, object 2 of ATM class, okay, now it would have all the default values only. Okay, so I hope the class concept is clear to you, like what is actually class is doing. Okay,
Yes.
uh,
Sir,
so
we can use while loop, no, sir?
their while loop.
Sir, if we forgot the password.
Yes, yes. For if you want to modify, yes, you can actually modify this class as per your opinion also. Like suppose you want to give the user 3 attempts, okay, to actually input the right um, pin, then you can actually use while loop. Okay. Yes, you can customize it as per your wishes. I have just shown you how a basic class would have been working. Okay. So this is the same principle that is actually working in the ATMs. Okay. So now if I actually I can withdraw money. Okay, now if I do ob1 dot what should I do, um, should just go to menu. Okay, and it will give me option to withdraw. Okay, I need to withdraw. Okay, enter your pin. My pin is 1234. Enter the amount. I want 3000 rupees. Okay, withdrawal successful. Current balance is 7000. Okay, and now I wish to check my balance. So my balance is, I need to again enter the pin. Balance is 7000, and now I will do it. Okay. Okay, so this is how we actually create a class. Okay.
Sir,
Mm-hmm.
sir, can you please tell again the methods?
See, actually, what self is doing is you have created an object. Okay. Okay, so what you actually do in whenever you use functions, okay, like there is a difference between function and method that I want to make you clear. Okay, uh, like suppose you have a list. Okay, the 1 2 and 3. Okay, and when you say you want to use a function on list, like length is the function, so what you do is you put the argument inside the function. Okay, but in methods what you do is you use the object and then apply your method afterwards. Okay, so your method is what, it is also a function. Okay, but how you are calling it, you are actually how you are referencing this particular value, for that you are using this keyword. It's not actually keyword, what we call is as a pointer. Okay, when you use self, so what you are saying is whenever you call this particular function, you are telling this function that you have to attach, you have to work on the object of that particular class. Okay, so in this case when I did a balance, I need not to write this, like I need not to write balance and then ob1. Okay, had balance been a function, then I would have written something like this. But this is a method of my particular class. So that is why I am writing it as this ob1 dot balance. So automatically my balance method will get to know that to which object I need to refer. I need to refer to the object of this object ob1. Okay, object of my class ATM. Okay, in place you can also use any other word also in place of self, but this has been a convention in programming, that is why we are using self. Okay, let us create another class. Okay, so class we can create another class like fractions. Okay, you might have seen that whenever we actually perform any operation like 3 by 4, so what we get is 0.75. We do not get the answer in the form of 3 by 4. Okay, if we do any other calculation like 1 by 2, so whenever you execute you get the output in zero point 0.5. But suppose you want to display you are making a website or you are making a certain application where you need to display your answer in the form of fractions only. So for that what you can do is you can create your own class called fractions. Okay, so let us try to do it. For that what we will do, first of all we will use keyword class. Okay, then we will define so fraction. Okay, and then what will we will make a constructor, and in the constructor what you will have is init, and then you will have two values, one is the numerator and other is denominator. Okay, and then you will initialize your object attributes. It would be like self x equal to x. Let me just write numerator to x, and self dot uh, denominator equal to y. Okay, and now you want to, whenever you do now in which way you need to display your output, like whatever object you define for fraction class, how you need to display it. For that you use a method like that we were talking about, like when I showed you str dir, there were certain methods that were in this particular form. Okay, so what these are called are, these are called matching methods or danda methods. Okay, so if you look over here, dir, when I did dir a, so there are certain methods that were already in the class. So what this str method does is, it whenever we do a print statement, so it tells the our system that how this object should be represented. Okay, so let me just show you. Like if I do self here, and then I will define the return self dot num, okay, comma self dot 10. Okay,
Sir,
10.
you defined a denominator as DENO. You just mentioned DEN.
Okay, okay, thank you. DUN. Okay, so this is my class. So if I define an object, fraction 3 comma 4. Okay, and then when I do print a, how my object should be represented is defined by this str. I've defined that my object should look in this particular fashion. Okay, so what this str is defines how my particular object would be returned when I use a print function. And if I just did a, then this is how my function would look. It would, what it will tell is that a is an object of fraction class, and this is the memory location. Okay, I hope this is clear to you all. Okay, now we will make more methods for this our class fractions. Okay, now I want that it should actually when we have two fractions like a and b, it should be able to add also. Okay, so for in that case what we will do is we will use another dunder method. Okay, that is add. Okay, and in that what we will do is we'll create a new numerator, and that would be, how do we actually add a numerator? We multiply it with the other. Okay, so for this we need actually two values. Okay, so what we can do is, what we do, like we use another pointer for other object. Okay, so what they usually the convention is, for our first object we will use self, and we need to use object uh, the second parameter as an other object of fraction class. Okay, so that is why I have used two parameters, self and other. Okay, so from self what I will do, I will use self dot num and then multiply it with the denominator of other. Okay, okay, and similarly I will multiply self into denominator, and then sorry, self dot denominator and multiply by other dot other dot numerator. Okay, this is how we usually multiply in two fractions, right? And doing and what would be our new denominator? New denominator would be the product of both of them. Okay, self dot denominator into self dot denominator. Why it is showing this? This would be, and then I will just return in this particular fashion my output. See, Mm, what I will do, I will return my new numerator and I will return my new denominator. Okay, so let us just check if this is working fine. Okay, we have created one fraction as 3 by 4 and let me just do create another fraction object. Okay, uh, let it be, what should be the 1 by 2. Okay, p, and I will do a plus b. Okay, so let us see if it is working. What is this? Unsupported operands for plus. Okay, why it is not? Mm, created fraction. No, it is working. Add, right? School self dot other new num self dot num and other dot den enter self dot denominator into other dot num. Mm, the issue, and if I do dot the issue here, did I make some mistake in defining it? Action totally fine. Then why am I getting error? That did I execute this? Yes. I have made some error in this. So I will liquid to this error and then let you know, because actually what I tried to do is with this dunder method what we can do is we can just use this operator plus operator and then we can actually just add to objects. Okay, anyways, no issues. We can, what we can do is we can try out some other example. We can actually uh, we'll move on to the next topic, that is how does our objects access these attributes. Okay, like I have already told you, like there is a concept called what we have in other programming languages, private and public. Okay, so what this concept is in classes is that we can actually make certain attributes not visible to uh, our user. Okay, it should be only used for our own consumption. Okay, like for our own internal processing in our classes. Okay, so those attributes we define as private, and attributes that should be visible to all users that are being defined as public. Okay, so but like this is the convention in almost every programming languages, even in C++, Java. Okay, but in Python, although there are certain ways that they say that it is a private object, but it is not completely private. Okay, uh, on certain extent it may appear as private, but it is all the attributes are actually accessible outside the class also in multiple different ways. Okay, so now you will ask me why Python has not given this feature, and why it is present in every other programming language. Well, the reason is simple. Like those people who have actually written Python, they have very clearly said that this Python language is for adults. Okay, like you are not there to actually create disruption for some other programmer who has actually made that beautiful code. So what could happen is that suppose a senior developer makes a good code, and a junior developer desperate just to take revenge out of his senior developer makes some changes in his uh, hidden, what we call as private attributes. So like this is a very nuisance creating activity, but as it is said that in Python it is a language that is being used for adults. Like we know that why we are using this particular language, and we don't use such nonsense techniques. Okay, so let me just show you how uh, like a private what we call as private attribute is being created. Okay, so let us say we create a class person, and then we define our constructor. Okay, in constructor we write self, and let us take an input, name input, and in country and other attribute as country. Okay, and then we will do self dot name to name input, whatever name that you have. We have self dot country equal to country score input. Okay, and def what we can define another function that we have for us, like greet, and if self dot country equal to India, then what we can print is we can do namaste, whatever is the name of the person. Okay, and else we can do print hello self dot name of the person. Okay, So this is my class, and suppose I create an object P of person class, and in that I write Somesh, comma, India. Okay, so if I execute it, can do p dot name, so I can get the name from our uh, from the object itself. Okay, why? Because this attribute is made public. Okay, so had this been, if I do self dot underscore name, okay, and this, now if now I do p dot, so what you can see is now I am not getting the attribute name. Okay, why? Because now I have actually made it private. By just using one underscore I have made this private. Okay, so suppose now you want to access that particular attribute, I need to use this method. Okay, through my methods I am able to use this private attribute. What is the attribute self? I made greet p dot str object has no. Why it is calling it to be str? Okay, I think I didn't execute this. Realize I made mistake in defining. No, it is p dot greet. Why it is not printing self dot name, self dot name.
Sir,
So,
in else the print have a comma self dot name.
and here also it should be this. I think now it should work. Yeah, why it wasn't working? Okay, I have not given a small India, that is why it was giving me this error. Okay, and yes, you are right. Okay, see, now since my name attribute is not there, I have made it private, so I cannot access it. Okay, but through p.greet, I can actually access it. Okay, so this is how you make a particular attribute as public or private. So what you can do is, for private attributes, you can access it through object methods only. Okay, this is a way to access private attributes. There is one more way in which you can actually create an attribute for our object. What you can do is you can actually do this. Okay, see, this is also got executed. Now if you do p dot and if you print gender, so this is the attribute that you have created. Okay, so it is not necessary that you create attributes in, you can only create attributes while defining the class. In Python you can actually dynamically define an attribute while executing the function itself. Okay, our next topic is what we call as reference Okay. Okay, let me just share this notebook to all of you. Okay, that you are able to see what code I have written. I have shared it in the in-call messages. So see whether it is you are able to open it. We will take 5 minutes of break. Just go through all this code. Okay, and revise what we have done up till now. Okay. Next topic, what we will do is reference variables. Okay. After 5 minutes, I will join. Okay. So before reference variables, actually, I thought of uh, discussing one more concept. Okay. And, I think that concept is static variables. Okay. So what are static variables is static variables, what you can say as the class variables that we have. Okay. That are attributes that are created at class levels. Okay. So if I say, like, what is static variables. So what static variables are, you need to first of all remember that they are created at class level. Okay. Up till now, whatever variables or objects that we were creating were instance based. That is, each object was completely independent. Okay. It was having its own set of attributes. Okay. And these static attributes can be accessed through class name. Okay. And these are, what else you need to remember is, these static attributes are object independent. That is, if you access those attributes with with one object, still its value would be same. If you use it with other object like b that you created, then also its value would be same. Okay. And also that the value that is stored in the uh, static variables is shared among all the instances. Okay. So let me show you, like, what is this actually static variable, how do we use it. Okay. So earlier we have defined our class like ATM class. Okay. So let us just use this particular class only. See. uh, okay. And here what I do, I define what you call as a counter variable. Okay. That will help me count the number of uh, ATMs that I got. Okay. So let me just use this counter. So in this way, create a static variable for this particular class ATM. Okay. And assign the value 1 to it. Okay. I hope my screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I created a counter variable. This is a class variable. Okay. So whenever any instance is created for this particular class, what I can do is I would do um, self dot let it be customer ID. Okay, and now how I can access it, like let us create his customer ID, like class name and then the uh, variable. Okay, so this way I can access my class variable. Okay, this class variable would be common to all the objects, like I had defined, I told you earlier that these attributes are defined at class level, accessed by class name, they are object independent, and the value stored in the static variables is shared among all the instances. Okay, so what I can do, whenever an ATM object would be created, a customer ID would be given to that particular object, and my counter, sorry, it is my counter would be updated by 1. Counter equal to ATM dot underscore counter plus 1. Okay, and like I have made this object as private by using this underscore, so let me just make uh, a utility function, like so that I can actually access the counter variable. Okay, so the right way would be like, let me just use define uh, get counter. Okay, and since it is independent of the instance, I won't use self here. Okay, and then I will return what I will return ATM dot underscore counter. Okay, so let me just execute this. The customer equal to 1 equal to ATM. Mm, and if I do ATM dot get counter, so now the value of counter is 2. So if I create another customer, C2 dot ATM, so now I actually I have an attribute like C2 dot CID. Okay, so it is having value 2. Okay, so counter is my static variable that is being actually shared with all the instances, whether it is C1 or C2. So each of them will have the value counter with them. Okay, so now can also ask me, sir, what are the benefits of actually using the objects. Why don't we just use variables? Why we are using objects only? Okay, so the benefit of objects is you can actually uh, store multiple attributes, like just with one uh, what you call object. Actually my object is having three values now. uh, if I just have my input, like in any particular function, if I in the arguments I enter the object of this ATM, then I can actually access three attributes. Like I can have a value for pin also, I can have value for balance also, I can have value for customer ID also. Okay, so let me just show you. Like suppose I think I have created another class also, like person class. So let me just use this class. Okay, so let me just use instead of okay, mm, this and this. Okay, so this is my person class, and based on that what you do is you define person object. Okay, and in person object you have one as country. Okay, you have another person. mm, let's take Aniket. This it he is from Germany, and let us take another person as Jana, and let her be from Italy. Okay, so we have actually created three person objects. Okay, so we can create just in one particular list. We can actually create a list. Okay, that will have all my objects. Okay, and then I can actually perform a loop as well in the object. So now my loop will go to each and every object, and then what I want is I want to print the name of that person, and I want to print the country of that person. Okay, so see, I can access all the attributes through the loop. Okay, similarly, suppose I want to create a dictionary, then that also I can do. Can make a dictionary like p1, p1 object, p2, p2 object, and then p3 having p3 object. Okay, okay, I know. So this is my dictionary, and then I can go through the dictionary like we do any other loop. I can do print, and then I want to print what I need to print. I need to print the country for all those objects. Okay, so I will execute it, and I'm getting India, Germany, Italy. Okay, so in this way you can access all the what I call as the uh, attributes of that particular object. Okay, and now we will move to our other topic, like as I told you, like what we call as reference variables. Okay, so now what we have already talked about static variables. Now what are reference variables? Okay, so there are certain things that you should also always remember. First, reference variables holds objects. Okay, can create objects without reference variable as well. And third, an object can have multiple reference variables. Okay, and last is assigning a new reference variable to an existing object does not create a new object. Okay, so these are certain points that you must remember. So what is actually a reference? See, whenever you create uh, if you have suppose class person, okay, let me just quickly make a class person. Okay, and in this what I can do is I will just create a constructor. Okay, self, and then I will just define one attribute name, and we'll just assign this variable as Somesh, and next I will just do dot gender equal to, okay, and then I will create this class, and if I do p person, okay, so I have created an object of class person. Okay, and then if I do q equal to p, okay, so I'm not actually creating another object. So how can I tell you this? Because if you do the address of p, and if you do the address of q, so these both are same. Okay, so what you are doing is you are not creating another object of it. What you are doing is you are just storing the address of my personal person class object. Okay, you are just creating a reference. Okay, like in the memory you have actually created a person object. Now both my p and q variables are actually pointing towards that particular uh, object that is stored in this particular id. Okay, so this is what we know as reference variables. Okay, so if I do p dot name, okay, so it is giving me the name from my person object. And if I do q dot name, so it is also referencing to the same uh, memory location. Okay, and if I now change the value of my name from outside the class, like suppose let me do Aniket over here. So and then I access p dot name. So see, even so, the name has actually changed from my reference variable as well. Okay, so I have created an object of p. I have created p object of person class, but through q also I am able to change the values of my uh, person object. Okay, so that is what I am saying, that we can create object without reference variables, and assigning a new reference variable to an existing object does not create a new object. Okay, so I think this is clear to all of you.
Yes.
We should do one question also regarding class. So I think you will also make a class of, okay, make a custom class. So let me just find a simple question. Okay, based on what we have done up till now, so I want you all to actually write a class. Okay, I'm sharing the question with you all. So what you need to do is, I hope my question is visible to all of you. So let me just write it.
It's okay.
Let me just write it in the text. Okay. Yes, now I think it is visible. It is more clearly visible. Okay. So what you need to do is, you need to create a class. Okay, and you need to count the number of instances of class created in Python. Okay, say you are creating a car class. Okay, and so you make three objects of the class, and after creating everything we want to count how many instances are created of car class. Okay, like for the above example it is 3. Okay, okay, so I will give you 10 minutes. Okay, just do this particular question. I hope you people are doing the question.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Okay, so anyone was able to do it? Okay, so let me just show you like how we will do it. So what is the concept that we will be using over here is the static variables that we created, okay, for our class. Okay, so let me just define my class car, okay, and I will create a variable. So let me just make this a variable count equal to 0, okay, and then I will just define my constructor init and init self, and in that what I can do is whenever a car instance is created, then I access my car name, and in that I will, through my class name, I can access this attribute, and then I will increment it with 1. Okay, this is how I should do it. And next what I need is I need to just make 3 instances of this car class. Okay, and then what I need is I need to just print number of instances equal to comma car dot count. Okay, given capital should be small p. Okay, so in this way when I execute it, I will get the output number of instances equal to 3. Okay, so whenever my class object is getting created, my count variable is incremented by 1. Okay, so number of instances equal to 3. I hope this is clear to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now let me show you one more use of how we use classes. Okay, so I want to, what I need to do is I need to define a class address. Okay, address, and in that class I will create my constructor. Okay, and in this constructor what I will do is I will take 3 inputs from the user. One is city, other is pin, then the state. Okay, and what I will do is I will then just assign to my city attribute, then self dot, sorry, I think I have written pin dot actually pin comma, okay, pin equal to pin, and self dot state equal to state. Okay, and I, so this is how my address class object should be initiated, what we call as instantiated. Okay, and then I want another function method in my class that should be edit address. Okay, and it will take the new city comma new pin new state. Okay, and then what it will do is it will replace the values that I have for the city with the new city, and pin with pin self dot state with, sorry, new pin, it should be new pin, then state with new state. Okay, so this is one of my class, and I will create another class that is my customer class. Okay, and in this customer class what I will do is I will take the constructor as the name of the customer, the gender of the customer, and then I will take the object of the address class as one of the values for my constructor in customer class. Okay, so then I can assign it like name. Okay, and then gender equal to gender, and self dot address equal to address. Okay, and I can create another method, print address, for my object of customer class, and in that what I can do is I can just print the address. How can I do that? I can just do self dot address dot uh, city. Okay, and then I can do self dot address dot pin comma self dot address self dot address dot state. Self dot address city pin and state. Okay, and now if I want to like edit the profile of my customer, okay, just like I had edit address for my address object, I need to create an a method edit profile in which I will take new name and new city comma new pin comma new underscore state. Okay, four values, and then what I can do is just do self dot name equal to new name, and self dot address equal to edit underscore address new underscore city like I'm using the edit address at method that I created. Okay, here I created edit address, so I am using that only, using my address object. Okay, I will just assign what it needs. It needs new city, new pin, and new state. So this new city I will assign here, new city, new pin, and new state. Okay, so it is executed. Should have done self dot address. Okay, I need to assign it also. Okay, like I have did changes to my address. Okay, not returning anything. It is directly changing in the self only. So this is not necessary. Okay, so let me just execute it. And now if I create address equal to now address class, and in that I can do like Mumbai, and this is the city. Then I need to enter the pin. Let me do it 400614. Then state is Maharashtra. Okay, and customer, I will create an object for customer. Customer, I need to enter name, gender. So name would be Ramesh, and gender is male, and then what I can do is I have to enter the object of address class. Okay. Where did I make mistake? Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so I have created a customer. Okay, so if I do cust dot print address, so what I get the address of the customer. Okay, and if I do now, if I want to edit the address for this particular customer, so what I can do is I just do customer dot edit profile, and in that, like suppose I don't want to change the name of the customer, but I need to change the other attributes, like I need to do Gurgaon, and Gurgaon, then I need to enter the pin, like whatever it is, 122011, and then Haryana. Okay, so now if I do cust dot print address, see, the address for the object has been changed. Okay, so what I just told you, like in another class, like this customer class, you can actually pass the object of another class like address class. Okay, so what this concept is actually called, the name of this concept is aggregation. Okay, you might hear it somewhere or it may be asked in a particular interview that what is aggregation. So this is like, aggregation is that our two classes are having some kind of uh, relationship. Okay, okay, whenever someone asks me what is uh, aggregation, it is actually that two classes are having a relationship. Like this is a particular line that you can use. Just that through aggregation, we want to say that our two classes are in some way have one kind of relationship. Like the object of one is used as a parameter for other class. Okay, so this is what is called aggregation. This much is enough for you. I think we have actually discussed lot of topics today about classes. Okay, so let me just give you a quick recap of what we have just done. Okay, today we introduced ourselves to what are objects in Python. Okay, what are attributes and what are methods, and like how we can actually instantiate an object using the class. We learned how to define class. Okay, what are the methods that are inherited in an empty class. Okay, we created a constructor for our class. We defined the attributes for that particular class. We made a custom class like ATM. We defined different methods in it. Okay, we use those methods. Okay, and then we also create learned about private and public, how different attributes can be made private and public in a class, and how we can access them. Okay, and how when we make something private we cannot access those particular attributes outside, but we can access them using a method. Okay, then we learned about static variables, like what are static variables, how we can create them. Okay, and then we saw how we can actually pass objects in different uh, list. We can use, we can pass objects in list, we can pass objects as dictionary. Okay, then we discussed about reference variables. Okay, and then we did a question like how we can actually count the number of instances of a particular class. Then at the end we discussed about that what is aggregation and how we can use an object of another class as a parameter for the constructor of a different class. Okay, I think just one more topic is left in this classes and object, that is inheritance. Okay, like once you have understood all these things, then inheritance is not very difficult. Okay, so let me just